There are some links here for sign up, contacting us. If you're watching this video, you probably use that one. And then there's a new FAQ. The 3 apps are here, and it's pretty apparent what you do. You have to open the app, and when you do that, you're prompted for that institution level login. There are 2 logins, one for the whole institution, and then one for that's an instructor code that is unique to you as the instructor, so that you get the reports and you can build the assignments. So I'm going to use the one that we used in the FAQ, which is the Coastal Community College. We abbreviate that CCC, and then we are the clams. That's our mascot, and then we would then sign in. Now I'm going to pause and put in a real one because that's a fake one. Okay, so I have put in the real access code, and I get this instructor assignment browser with 2 steps. One, to select instructor in mode. This is where you're going to put in your unique instructor ID, which is the second level of identification. But importantly, it links you to the email function, so you'll get the reports. So, and then you can also choose the mode here. You have to choose assessment or practice. The default is practice. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to pause again to, okay, if you didn't put in a real code, you got rejected, and you'll have to put in a real code. So now this is where you create the assignment, and I'm just telling you how we use it. If we're covering carbohydrate, we usually start with like a list of cases, and you can preview them here. So this is a fasting with an elevated, this probable diabetes. So we'll add that. We like to add some normals or nothing definitive. In this case, add that. And I'll put in another diabetic. So you can add hypoglycemia, whatever you want. In this case, there are 80 to choose from. Here's a good one for that. It's a TPN contamination. And you can see it's all deltaed and critical. Anyway, when you get your list and you're satisfied, you can then create the assignment. And you do that by clicking this button. Now, if you want to eliminate one, you can just click this arrow. You can also edit this, but it's dangerous. This has to be in a definitive syntax of a integer, comma, and another integer. And it will check to make sure you didn't make any mistakes in doing that. But I'm going to go ahead and create the assignment. And once you get that, then you have a URL. And this URL can be copied. It can be, then copied and pasted in a learning management system. Or you can attach it to an email. And then that's the assignment for the students. You can also just click it. It doesn't look like a complete URL, but it is. So we click, and there we are. And we get our first case in a list. So now there's a list. And if you look up here in the URL, you'll see, if you can expand it, you'll see that it's got a file list at the end. So it lists all the samples. Anyway, the student then would work through it, and at the end of the day, add their name and submit it. And then the email comes to you because you've used the proper code. I'm going to stop, and this will be part 1. Okay, so the next app in the Learning Suite is the quality control. I'll go ahead and open that. And notice it didn't ask me for my institution access. That's because I've already logged in once. And usually, but not always, it won't ask you again. So in this case, though, it's asking me for my instructor code, which is a different code. This is the code that's given to you as an instructor, so that when you create the assignments, it sends you the proper, routes the email to you. And so I'm going to pause and put in a real one here. Okay, so I'm in, and next thing it asks me is, what do I want? Which mode? There are two modes in the QC: single day, multi-analyte. That is, you're going to look at everything in a BMP um, for a single day, or you're going to look at multi-days for a single analyte, such as you're going to look at glucose for a period of 20 days or whatever. Either way, you're going to choose one or the other. And let's choose the multi-day, hit next, and it's going to ask me what analyte to choose. Let's choose glucose, and let's choose 10 days. So we'll go from 15 to 25, and then hit next. So it's asking me, is this right? And if not, we can go back and edit it. But then we create the assignment, and it's right here. So again, you can copy this URL and or paste it in your learning management, or you can email it, or you can like I'm going to do right now is just click it, and it's going to go ahead and open up my list, and it is working on glucose and starts on day 15. And if you've never seen this before, then you need to look at the other tutorials. But yeah, you have to plot the points, and to plot them, you have to get close to where it is on the graph. So like that. And once you plot the second point, then it gives you the menu to start analyzing. And there's nothing definitive here that I can see. And you'll notice it had two modes in the beginning: assessment and practice. And we we don't allow you to use the multi-day mode for assessment. And that's because the student can look back and see once they've made a mistake, because it does show all the repeats and everything else. Anyway, you do have to play with this a little bit to really learn the nuances of it, but hopefully you find it to be very useful. So I'm going to stop this and call it good for part B. Again, the purpose of this is not to teach how to use the tool, it's to teach how to create the assignment. So now the third app in the suite is the Thought Challenger. It's primarily lab math, but it has a lot of other critical thinking exercises. And it has a similar challenger. First step is to put in the instructor code. And I'm going to pause and put in an instructor code. This is your code. It's not the generic one for the institution. It's your code to make sure that you get the emails. So I'm going to pause and put in a real one so that we can move. So I've entered the valid code. I hit next, and it opens up now to build assignment. And here I can browse all the different questions. There are 122 questions in the bank, or 122 challenges, we call them. We can select them by category. For instance, if we were going to look at blood gases, for instance, there are 18 blood gas situations for the students to evaluate. And if we were teaching blood gases, then we might want to build, just this. And we would then we see one we like, we add it. If we don't like it, we can browse all the ones. So till we find one we want and add it, and notice it builds it on the list. And similarly, we can then come in here and edit later. We can mix categories. So if we wanted to put in an acid base, we can then, it's showing us a CMP, and we could add that. So we can mix and match. Again, add this one. We can put in teaching hematology. We can look at correcting the nucleated reds. And every time we add one, we're just building the assignment list. So you can mix disciplines. You can mix this. Here's some on QC, QA. We give them 2 parameters. They have to calculate what the mean is. And so we can build a list, and you can use this, as you can see, throughout the curriculum. It's not limited to chemistry or hematology. It has questions on linear regression, a lot of unit conversions. There are 7 of those, and temperature conversions. Molarity, normality, how to make reagents should that ever come around, and dilutions. 21 dilutions. Most of them are simple, some of them are not. But anyway, at the end of the day, you've got a list. And again, you can build the URL and copy it, click it, use it. And it gets you into the Thought Challenger, which if you haven't used it, is an unusual interface. It's kind of like a K-type question. You have to evaluate 4 true-false statements in order to go on and answer the test. And people have commented, well, if you get these right, then the answer is obvious. And yeah, that's exactly the point. So it's for students that may have trouble thinking through a problem. It makes them think by answering these true-false questions and maybe doing some pre-calculation. So again, they put the answer in, they get to the answer, they get feedback, and it submits. And there's other documentation online for this. So anyway, that is the introduction to the instructor portals for the 3 apps in the Learning Suite. And I hope you get to use these and find them useful to you and your students.